Welcome to the FEMvolution podcast. This isn't another finance show about hustling harder, chasing revenue, or glorifying burnout. And it's definitely not another conversation about chasing profit at any cost. This is where we dismantle the systems that told you you had to make more money before you were allowed to protect it. Because at Fem Solutions, we believe in something radically different. Protection comes first, and profit naturally follows. Because real financial power isn't about being rich, it's about being resourced. And on this podcast, we're redefining what financial freedom actually means. And it is not a destination reserved for the wealthy, but it's a daily practice available at any income level when you understand how to manage, protect, and optimize what you already have. We talk about building financial ecosystems, not just profitable businesses, about securing your infrastructure before you scale your income, and creating systems that protect your cash flow, your peace, and your future. You'll hear conversations rooted in FEM's core philosophy: protection first, not profit first, and strong money that supports a soft life, and freedom that's measured by resources, not status. And last but definitely not least, impact that extends beyond your bank account. Because FEM is not here to follow the industry standards. We're here to set a new one. Because we don't just serve clients, we empower change makers. And this podcast is part of that movement. It's part of our empowering process. So if you know your brilliance deserves better support, if you're done building income without infrastructure, and you're ready to stop leaking money, energy, and peace, then you're in the right place. This is the FEMvolution podcast, where we teach you how to do money the Fem way. Most people think that when money feels tight, the solution is obvious. Make more money, right? But that's a reflex. That's the default advice that almost every financial conversation eventually collapses into. And today I want to talk to you about why that advice, especially under pressure, is not just incomplete, it's dangerous. Not because making more money is bad, right? Money matters, your income matters, growth matters. But because when pressure is active, make more money pushes people into reactivity instead of safety. And reactivity is not the same thing as stability, okay? Here's the core issue. When your system is under threat, the goal is not more money, okay? The goal is containment. Because if you don't contain the threat first, more money doesn't magically create safety. It creates faster reactions. And faster reactions without containment create chaos. Let me say that again, okay? Because this is the part that most people miss, okay? Under pressure, make more money increases reactivity. It does not create safety. And the difference between safety and reactivity is the difference between a system that holds and a system that folds. So when I talk about speed or reactivity, right? Faster reactions. without containment. Here's what I actually mean. Containment means your system has order. It has priorities. It has boundaries that protect survival first and keep panic from assigning a job to every dollar the moment it hits your account. You don't want panic assigning jobs to your money, okay? Containment looks like knowing what must be paid first, knowing what can wait, knowing where flexibility exists, and having rules that keep urgency from running the show. FEMFlow, right? Reactivity looks like money coming in and immediately getting used to reduce discomfort, not to strengthen the system, not to stabilize next month, just to make the current moment feel less threatening. So when someone tells you to make more money while you're under pressure, what they're really saying is add more money to a system that already feels unsafe. Increase the number of decisions you have to make while your nervous system is activated. Raise the stakes without fixing the structure. And that's why this advice backfires. And now I'm going to explain the 4 main reasons that it fails under pressure. Okay. We're going to go a little deeper. First, pressure changes how decisions are made. Okay. When money stress is active, your nervous system is not neutral. Fight or flight kicks in. Okay. Urgency gets really loud. Time feels like a threat. Every bill feels critical. And every choice feels permanent. So money stops behaving like a neutral tool and a resource, right? And it becomes reactive fuel. That means when someone says, just make more money, the real question isn't how to earn more, okay? It's what state you're earning from. Because earning from regulation produces different decisions than earning from fear and reactivity and urgency. Under pressure, the brain isn't prioritizing alignment. It's prioritizing relief. And relief chasing can look productive at first, right? But it's actually scarcity behavior. It's the nervous system trying to reduce the threats as fast as possible. So make more money turns into move faster. And moving faster while activated is how people say yes to the right things, the wrong things, sorry. It's how they make short-term decisions that create long-term instability and then blame themselves for it later. That's not a discipline problem. That's a systems problem. Second, income gets mistaken for stability. This is one of the biggest misdiagnoses in modern finance. We treat income like it's the stabilizer. Like once more money arrives, everything else will calm down. But income is not stability. It's inflow. It's just money coming in. Stability is your system's ability to absorb pressure without collapsing. Stability is being able to go through a stacked week and still stay housed, still stay lit, still keep the basics covered, and still stay in control. So when someone is under pressure and you tell them to make more money without containment, they actually just start worshiping those inflows, worshiping money coming in, right? They brace for the next deposit like it's oxygen. They live launch to launch, invoice to invoice, client to client, customer to customer, right? And even when their income increases, their nervous system doesn't calm down because the system itself still doesn't feel safe. They still feel like things could collapse if they don't keep going at this level and operating from this sense of urgency and fear. That's why you'll hear people say things like, I make more money than I ever have, right? But I still don't feel okay. My money could be gone tomorrow and I'll be right back where I started. Except now my bills are higher. Now my survival expenses have increased to a level that I can't sustain because I'm not really stable. I just have more money. It sounds very counterintuitive, right? It's not. More money, more problems. That's how the old money system, right? The traditional one operates. That's its motto. More money, more problems. Why? Because you don't have a stable system. But that's not mindset, right? It's not a mindset issue. It's not a discipline issue. It's a structure and systems issue. Your money doesn't have structure. You make more, right? Your money went up, but you don't have a stable system or structure to filter it through. And that's what brings me to the third reason, right? More money under pressure creates faster reactions, not better ones. Under pressure, more money does not create clarity. It creates speed. Think about how you behave when you're rushed. All right. You don't slow down and weigh your options. You don't do the speed limit when you're driving, right? If you're running late, you're in a rush, 9 times out of 10, you're going above the speed limit. And if a car cuts you off and it's going way slower and you don't have enough time to react, guess what? Now you're in a car accident. Or you're slamming on the brakes and giving yourself whiplash to avoid hitting the car that just cut you off. That's going slower than you. And you might even be, cussing them out, yelling about how they're an idiot and they cut you off and you have somewhere to be and you don't have time for this, right? We've all been there. Road rage is a thing, right? It's because you're in a rush. You didn't allow enough time for you to get to your destination without doing it in a dangerous manner, even if you're normally a very safe driver. When we're running late, when we're in a rush to get somewhere because we're on a deadline, right? Our normal actions and the normal way we would handle things goes out the window. It's gone. All right. I'm gonna bring this back. So, like I said, under pressure, money doesn't create more clarity or clarity at all, right? It creates speed. You don't slow down and weigh your options. You grab whatever discomfort, whatever reduces it the fastest, that discomfort that you feel, right? That's how people end up overcommitting, undercharging, spending emotionally, or making decisions they regret almost immediately afterwards. Not because they're irresponsible, but because their nervous system is trying to survive the moment. So income becomes a way to stop the feeling, not fix the condition or the system, right? And if money becomes the thing you use to stop the feeling, you're always going to need more of it. It's never going to be enough because that feeling will come back every time. Which brings me to the final reason, right? Growth without protection magnifies the fragility that already exists. Okay. Now, FEMFlow is not anti-income. All right. It's not anti-growth. It's anti-fragility. We don't want you fragile. We don't want an unstable system, right? Because growth without protection doesn't fix instability. It just exposes it. So if your system is fragile, make more money means the cracks get bigger. They become more visible, right? If your system requires you to stay activated to function, your nervous system has to be on high alert. More money is going to raise the stakes of every decision. If your system depends on urgency, income becomes another pressure point instead of a resource. And that's not freedom. That's just a bigger cage. That is why hustle culture glorifies pressure. It treats urgency like it's normal, stress like it's proof, and activation like it's just part of the process, right? But by now, you should know urgency narrows your perception, it shortens timelines, okay? And it trains you to prioritize relief over alignment. And when you're constantly prioritizing relief over alignment, over time, that's going to destroy trust. Okay? Not just in money, but in yourself. Because you're going to start noticing you only move when you're cornered or when you feel the pressure to move. And that's why FEMFlow rejects that model. Not because money doesn't matter, but because protection changes the operating condition of the system. If you operate under pressure for too long, you eventually crash. If you're running off of adrenaline, when you crash hard. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be operating in a system that is guaranteeing that I'm going to crash and I'm going to crash hard. When your money system is protected, money doesn't have to move fast to feel effective. it can move intentionally. It can move in alignment with where you want to go. So when pressure is present, FEMFlow asks a different first question. Not how do I make more money? Because, that's the advice you get, right? Make more money. Okay, how can I make more money? That's not what FEMFlow asks you, okay? That's not what it tells you to ask yourself. What you need to be asking yourself is, what does my system need to stop being under threat? Because once that threat is contained and removed, something important happens. Your decisions slow down. Not because you're stuck, but because you're no longer being chased. And then your discernment comes back. Money becomes directional again. And growth, when it happens, actually sticks. It becomes sustainable long term, right? That's the difference between earning more and being safer, protected, right? Most systems chase earning. FEMFlow builds safety, protection. And safety is what makes earning sustainable. It's what allows it to continue to grow for the long haul. So if you've been working hard, bringing money in, and still living inside financial tension, money stress, right? Consider this episode permission for you to stop blaming yourself. Okay? You're not broken. You're not undisciplined. You're not bad with money. You've just been given advice that ignores how pressure actually works. Making more money is not the solution when the system itself is under strain. Protection is, containment is, sequencing is. And when those things are in place, money finally gets to do what it was meant to do in the first place: support you, not stress you out. So, if this episode shifted how you think about income and safety, then stay with me. Subscribe. Turn on the notifications, right? Because next week, we're going to be talking about two kinds of financial instability and why most people spend years trying to fix the wrong one. So I will see you guys next week. All right. Bye.